My neighbor used a leaf blower at 6 a.m. for months. When I finally yelled, he mocked me, said, "It's not my fault you can't afford better windows." That night, I recorded every noise, every word. What I sent to his HOA made his wife leave the next day. I live in an older neighborhood about 20 minutes outside Tampa, Florida. Nothing fancy, modest homes, small yards, lots of older folks. The kind of place where people say good morning when they walk by, but no one really gets in your business. It's quiet. Or, at least, it used to be. I moved here after my divorce. Bought the house myself, a 2-bed, 1-bath that still has the original windows from the 60s. The paint's peeling in spots and the fence leans a little, but it's mine. I work from home doing freelance editing, which means I spend a lot of time in the house, especially early mornings. That's when I do my best work. I liked the silence. I needed it. Then Brent moved in. 3 houses down, same side of the street. Big guy, maybe early 40s. Always wearing gym shorts and tight t-shirts like he was waiting to be cast on a reality show. Drove a lifted white Ford truck that took up half his driveway. From day one, I knew he was loud. Constant calls on speakerphone outside, yelling into his Bluetooth like the person on the other end was half a mile away. His wife, I only ever heard her voice in short, quiet bursts. She mostly stayed inside. The first time I heard the leaf blower, I honestly thought it was a mistake. It was a Thursday morning, around 6:05 a.m. Still dark out. I shot up in bed, heart racing. Thought maybe someone was cutting down a tree or something. But it was just him, outside in gym shorts, blowing imaginary leaves off his driveway. It was October. There were barely any leaves on the ground. But he kept at it, back and forth, like he was preparing for a parade. I let it go. Maybe it was a one-off. The next morning, 6:01 a.m. blower again. Then Friday. Then Saturday. Same time. Same noise. Like clockwork. At first I tried coping. Earplugs, a white noise machine, even playing ambient rain sounds on my laptop. Nothing worked. The leaf blower's pitch cut through everything, a deep, whining roar that vibrated through my windows and made my dog shake under the bed. So I wrote a note. Just a small card with a friendly tone. "Hey neighbor, would you mind waiting until 8 a.m. for yard work? A few of us work early mornings, and it's been hard to sleep through. Appreciate it." I slipped it in his mailbox. Nothing changed. Next week, I saw him outside when I was taking out the trash. I said, "Hey, I left you a note the other day." He cut me off mid-sentence, didn't even look up from his phone. "Oh yeah, I saw it. Not my fault you can't afford better windows." He said it like he was telling me I had spinach in my teeth. Then he smirked and walked back inside. That was the moment something clicked. I'd been trying to be polite, trying to give the benefit of the doubt. But this guy wanted to be a problem. He liked the power. And the second he saw that I was affected, he started aiming it right at me. So, I stopped complaining. I stopped talking. I started recording. I ordered a long-range mic and a mini DVR. Installed it under the overhang of my back porch, hidden behind a fake utility box. Set it to trigger automatically at 5:55 a.m. every day. I got everything. The leaf blower, of course. But also the arguments. Brent yelling at his wife for forgetting to thaw chicken. Brent screaming at the landscaper for scratching his concrete. Brent bragging on the phone to someone, probably his brother, about how pissed the nerd down the street gets every morning. That nerd was me, by the way. Then one morning I caught something different. It was 5:50 a.m. and Brent was already outside, pacing. I heard his wife say something about taking the car, something small. And then he just snapped. "You are that sh*t again, and I'll throw your closet in the trash." Silence. Then, "No one wants to see your flabby arms at brunch, Chelsea." Her name was Chelsea. That was the first time I'd heard it clearly. I didn't hear her voice again for the next 2 hours. And that changed something for me. This wasn't just about noise anymore. I pulled out the HOA handbook. Every home in our neighborhood pays $300 a year to the HOA. It's a joke most of the time. They don't do much, send out a newsletter, organize a fall block party no one attends. But tucked inside the bylaws is a section about disturbances. Section 4.7. Excessive or repetitive noise before 7:30 a.m. on weekdays or 9 a.m. on weekends, including mechanical equipment, is prohibited and subject to disciplinary action. And then in Section 5.3, any verbal abuse, intimidation, or harassment occurring on HOA property is grounds for immediate review and possible penalty. I had weeks of timestamps. I had audio. I had Brent naming himself in half the recordings. I burned everything to a flash drive, printed out a log of dates and times, and I sent it anonymously to the HOA board president's mailbox. Just a manila envelope, no return address. 3 days later, Brent's wife left, packed up a sedan with 2 suitcases. He stood in the driveway yelling, "You're really doing this over some *T recordings?" She didn't answer. She didn't look back. The next morning, no leaf blower. For the first time in months, I heard birds. After Chelsea left, things got quiet, but not in a peaceful way. More like the quiet before a storm. For about a week, I didn't hear much. No blower, no shouting. Just the occasional slam of a door or the rumble of his truck leaving early in the morning. I figured maybe he got scared. Maybe the HOA reached out. Maybe the humiliation of having his dirty laundry aired out was enough to make him finally shut up. I was wrong. One night, around 11 p.m., I was in bed when I heard it, the sharp metallic click of my gate. I froze. My motion light kicked on a second later. I got up slowly, looked out through the curtain. It was Brent, standing in my backyard. He didn't say anything, just stood there for a minute, looking up at my porch camera like he knew exactly where it was. Then he walked back out. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, I checked the footage. He hadn't touched anything, hadn't broken anything. Just stood there, long enough to make it clear it wasn't a mistake. I sent the footage and the date and time directly to the HOA. This time I used my name. I didn't care anymore. 2 days later, I got a knock at the door. It was a man from the HOA board. His name was Mark, gray hair, tired eyes, holding a clipboard and a folder. "We've had several complaints about Mr. Taylor," he said, flipping open the file. "Yours is the most detailed. Can I come in for a minute?" He sat at my dining table and told me they'd been dealing with Brent since the day he moved in. Noise complaints, trash violations, even one neighbor who said Brent let his dog roam without a leash. But no one ever had proof. Just vague emails or secondhand stories. Until mine. "We're pursuing formal action," Mark said. "But you should know. He's fighting it, and he knows where the complaints came from." I nodded. "He was in my backyard 2 nights ago." Mark's eyes narrowed. "Did you call the police?" "I didn't have to. I have it on camera." He took my statement, promised me the board would handle it. That weekend, I went to Home Depot and bought a taller lock for the gate, reinforced my back porch light, put new batteries in the motion detectors. Monday morning, 6 a.m., the blower was back. Not just for 5 minutes this time, but a full 30. I went outside, phone in hand, recording everything. "Morning, neighbor," Brent yelled from his driveway, voice bright and mocking. "Just catching up on chores." I didn't answer. The next day, a dead squirrel showed up on my porch. Neck twisted, flies already circling. There was no blood, but it looked placed. Not like it died there. Like someone put it there. I called animal control. Then I called the police. They came out, took a report, said they couldn't prove anything but told me to keep my cameras rolling. And I did. I captured Brent pacing his driveway, flipping off my house when he thought no one was looking. Captured him muttering things under his breath. Rat, snitch, soft-ass bitch. Just loud enough to be caught on mic. I forwarded everything to the HOA. To the police. Even to Chelsea. I found her work email through LinkedIn and sent her a short message with one of the audio clips. I didn't expect a response, but I got one. 3 days later, an email. "Thank you for this. I had no idea it was this bad. I'm sorry he targeted you. I'm filing a restraining order next week. Stay safe." The next morning, Brent was gone. His truck, his furniture, everything. There was a notice taped to his door. Legal language I couldn't make out fully, but it had the words violation, hearing, and pending action. I stood at my window and watched as two guys in polos loaded boxes into a U-Haul. That night, I finally slept through the entire night. But the story wasn't over. Because the next week, someone knocked on my door. And it wasn't Brent. It was early evening when I heard the knock. Light, almost hesitant. I looked through the peephole, half expecting to see Brent again, somehow returned. But it wasn't him. It was a teenage boy, maybe 16, skinny. Wore a gray hoodie and held something under his arm, a manila folder, like the ones I'd used for my HOA logs. I opened the door just a crack, keeping the chain latched. "You live here?" he asked. "Yeah. Who are you?" He shifted, looking uncomfortable. "I'm Brent's son. From his first marriage." That caught me off guard. "I'm not here for him," he said quickly. "I don't even live around here. My mom just told me what happened. Said he moved in with his cousin up in Pasco." I didn't say anything. Just waited. "He left some stuff in our garage," he said, holding up the folder. "Old paperwork, junk. I found this. Thought you should see it." I hesitated, then unlatched the door and stepped out. He handed me the folder and backed up a little. "You're not the only person he's done this to. He used to yell at my mom like that, too. I mean, worse. I don't know what's in there. Just figured you'd want it." I took the folder. He gave a small nod and walked off down the sidewalk. No car. No bouvier. Inside, I set it on the table and opened it. What I found was a mess. Receipts, letters, and pages from some kind of court file. I couldn't make sense of it all at first. But the more I read, the clearer it became. Brent had been in trouble before. There was a restraining order filed in 2017 by someone named Ashley. Another one in 2019. There were notes scrawled in the margins of some pages, angry, paranoid stuff. Lies. Set up. They want to ruin me. But the worst part? A typed letter. Addressed to the HOA president. Not ours, but from a different neighborhood association. Dated 3 years ago. It was a complaint about Brent. Almost word for word identical to mine. Early morning noise. Screaming. Intimidation. Neighbors scared to speak up. And then this sentence near the end. Several of us have begun keeping detailed records in case he escalates. We no longer feel safe. I sat there for a long time, just staring at that line. Because suddenly it made sense. He wasn't just a bad neighbor. He was a pattern. A cycle. He'd done this before. Maybe multiple times. Moved, caused chaos, pushed people until they pushed back, then ran before it caught up to him. But now, for the first time, someone had made it stick. Me. I copied everything in that folder. Sent it to the HOA. Sent a copy to Chelsea. Even emailed it to the officer who'd taken my report. I didn't know if it would matter, but I wasn't going to let it get buried again. 2 days later, I got a call from Chelsea. "Thank you," she said. Her voice sounded steadier this time. "You did more than anyone else ever did." Then she hung up. That night, I noticed a car driving slowly past my house. Not once, 3 times. Same car. Headlights off. I couldn't make out the driver. Just a silhouette. I didn't sleep that night either. After the car drove by, for the 3rd time, I went outside. I didn't even think, just grabbed a flashlight and stepped onto the porch like I could confront it, whatever it was. But the street was empty. No taillights. No engine sounds. Just quiet. Too quiet. I installed a second security camera the next day, this one facing the street. I didn't tell anyone. Just quietly mounted it above the mailbox and wired it into my system. I also moved my desk away from the front window. I didn't want to feel like I was sitting in a fishbowl anymore. Then the notes started. The first one was shoved halfway through the slats of my fence. Just a ripped piece of paper, no envelope. Keep playing detective. See where it gets you. No name.
No anduriting ni rakumisa.
I took a photo and emailed it to Officer Landry, the same officer who had taken my earlier complaint. He told me to document everything and keep my doors locked. Not much else he could do, unless I had footage of who left it. A week passed. Then another.
No leaf blower. No scouting.
No dead animals. But the notes kept coming. One in the mailbox. You think you're safe now? Another taped to my back gate in the middle of the night. Everyone slips eventually. By the third one, I was sleeping with a bat beside my bed. I stopped opening my blinds. I ordered blackout curtains and kept every light off after dark. Then, early one morning, the street camera finally caught something. 3:42 a.m. A man walking past the house. Hoodie pulled up. He didn't stop. Just walked slowly by, then turned at the end of the block. But he turned back for 1 second, just enough for the camera to catch part of his face. It wasn't Brent. I didn't recognize him at all, which somehow made it worse. Because if it wasn't Brent, who else was involved? Was this someone he sent? Or was there something about this neighborhood, or this situation, that had stirred something bigger? I went back through the folder Brent's son had given me. Started looking closer at the letters, the side notes. One phrase came up again and again. They're all connected. At the time, I thought it was just paranoia. Some angry scrawl from a man who thought everyone was out to get him. But now I wasn't so sure. I reached back out to Chelsea. Told her about the car, the notes, the stranger. She replied, short and fast. You need to talk to Ashley. She knows more than I ever did. She moved to Clearwater. I'll find her number. That was 2 days ago. Today, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It said, I heard he made you his next target. You're not the first.
I'll talk.
But not over the phone. It was signed, Ashley. Ashley wanted to meet at a diner off Route 19, a 24-hour place in Clearwater with flickering lights and a parking lot that smelled like diesel and burned toast. We sat in a corner booth. She looked tired. Mid-30s, maybe. Wore sunglasses, even though it was cloudy. Her voice was quiet, but steady. I'm only talking because Chelsea said you wouldn't stop, she said, stirring her coffee without drinking it. I tried. For years, I tried to move on. But I guess Brent doesn't let people do that. I told her everything. The blower, the yelling, the HOA report, the folder from his son, the notes, the late-night walk-bys. She didn't look surprised at any of it. You know he's done this in 3 other neighborhoods, right? She said. He moves in, makes himself the loudest person on the block, and waits to see who cracks first. It's like a game to him. She pulled out her phone and showed me photos. Screenshots. Police reports. One from a woman named Teresa, restraining order filed in 2014. Another from a neighbor in Jacksonville who had reported continuous harassment after making a noise complaint. That neighbor? Ashley said, tapping the screen. He woke up one night with all his car windows smashed in. No prints, no witnesses. Brent moved 2 months later. She looked at me. You didn't just stand up to him. You embarrassed him. You made it official. I nodded slowly. He's not here anymore, though. He left. Ashley shook her head. That doesn't mean anything. He doesn't have to be here to mess with you. He just has to know someone who is. You think he doesn't have buddies from work, old friends, people who think this stuff is funny? He once got a coworker fired just for parking too close to his truck.
She leaned in.
Has anything weird happened? Not him exactly, just stuff that doesn't feel right. I told her about the notes, the car, the figure on the camera. She nodded again, like she'd been expecting that. He always escalates through other people when he gets backed into a corner. It's how he keeps his hands clean. My chest felt tight. I'd thought I'd won. Thought I'd driven him out. But I hadn't. I just pushed him into the shadows. Ashley wrote down a name and number on a napkin. Someone she said was a private investigator who had once helped her collect evidence after Brent started mailing photos of her front door to her work address. I'm not saying you need him, she said, standing to leave. But I think he already knows your patterns. You need to start knowing his. I took the napkin. Watched her leave. That night, when I got home, the mailbox was empty. No new threats. But my side gate was unlatched. I always latch it. Always. After that night, I stopped sleeping through. I'd wake up at every creak, every hum of the fridge, convinced it was someone on the porch. I kept the porch light on 24/7. Didn't matter. I still checked the cameras 3 times a night. I called the private investigator Ashley recommended. His name was Cole. Former cop, now worked on harassment and stalking cases. I told him everything. He didn't react much, just took notes, nodded, and said, "If this guy's still playing, we'll catch him." He swept the outside my house, found a small black box zip-tied under my car's rear bumper. A GPS tracker. That's when it stopped being stressful. It became terrifying. I filed another police report, handed over the tracker. They said they'd investigate, but couldn't say how long it would take.
No fingerprints.
No camera caught the moment it was placed. Cole set up a new surveillance system for me, hidden cams disguised as bird feeders and motion alerts sent straight to his phone. We agreed I'd stay at my sister's for a while, just to break any habits Brent or his people might have been tracking. The first night away, I got a call from Cole. "Your gate opened at 2:17 a.m. Someone stood by your back door for about 30 seconds. Then they left. They knew where the cameras were. They never looked up." I felt something cold settle into my spine. I asked if he recognized the face. "No," he said. "But whoever it was, they'd done this before." I stayed another week at my sister's. Started looking at other houses, maybe even other states. I didn't want to run, but I also didn't want to keep living like I was waiting for a knock on the glass. Then, about a week ago, I got a letter. Real envelope. Stamped. Postmarked from Pasco County. Inside was a single photo. My front door. Taken from the sidewalk. No note. No name. Just the photo. The timestamp at the bottom said 3:03 a.m. That was the night I'd thought I dreamed someone knocking. I still live in the house. I keep the curtains drawn. Cameras running. Doors locked. Every night before bed, I check the porch light, not because I think it'll stop him, but because I need to believe I'm still the one in control. And every morning when I wake up and see nothing happened, I wonder if that means I'm safe, or if he's just waiting for me to relax.